Hello everybody, Jim here. Welcome back to Mad Panic Gaming, where today we've got some Resident Evil talk because I just watched the new trailer for the upcoming Resident Evil movie being written and directed by Zach Cregger. So I just wanted to sit down and talk briefly about what I thought of the trailer, how I feel about the direction for the movie and maybe Resident Evil movies going forward, and then a little bit about what I've seen as the fan reaction, which I've also found kind of interesting. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. First, though, down in the comments, you can put down there what you thought of the trailer, if you're looking forward to seeing this movie, and are you a fan of the Resident Evil movies in general? Because my history with the series goes back to the very first game. I played it when I was 10 years old, when it was released in 1996, and I've been a fan, more or less, of Resident Evil ever since then. I don't really like Resident Evil as like action games, so I'm not a huge fan of 4, even though everyone seems to really love that game. And I don't like 5, I don't like 6, 7 is really good, 8 is pretty good. I have not played Requiem yet. And I've liked a number of the side games as well. I like Code Veronica and Revelations, those games are pretty cool. But generally speaking, I've been a fan of the Resident Evil game series for most of my life. I have never been a fan of anything like film related to Resident Evil. Even when I saw the first Resident Evil movie as like a 14-year-old, I didn't care for it. I didn't get it. Like, it started out seeming like it was going to be kind of like what I saw in the games, but then there were no recognizable characters, and they go to this like underground laboratory. Really, it wasn't what I wanted as like a young fan of the series and what I was expecting from a Resident Evil movie. And then after that, everything is like just pure trash. I mean, the first movie, just watching it on its own, it's like a watchable movie. Everything after that, though, is like, some people say that they're sort of like guilty pleasure movies for them. I can't even watch them as like guilty pleasure. It's really just like cringe-inducing, like just like shitty mid-2000s action schlock. And I really don't care for those. And then Welcome to Raccoon City was, I also didn't really care for that. Like, it was just trying to do too much, trying to merge like the story of 2 different games into one, and then the characters are kind of, I don't know, it just felt like people cosplaying as Resident Evil characters. So I thought that was shitty, and then I haven't seen the Netflix thing, and I really don't care. I have no intentions of watching it. So basically anything with the Resident Evil name attached to it, on film, live action, to me is just like non-existent. It's a non-issue. It's a series that really at this point has like no credibility or goodwill, not just with like fans of Resident Evil, but of just like general audiences as well. Like, I think like just really nobody likes any of this shit. So that's why I was excited when I heard that Zach Cregger was gonna be writing and directing a new Resident Evil movie, because I enjoyed Barbarian. I didn't think it was as great as I think most people did, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty solid horror flick, and then I really liked Weapons, which is like, I guess most people really like Weapons. Like, at least one of the actresses I won a fucking Oscar for her performance in it or something. So. But I really enjoyed it. So as far as I'm concerned, he's kind of on a roll. Like, I don't think they're perfect movies, but he has a good sense for like horror, and it's something that doesn't come along like that often. There's a lot of like shitty schlocky horror flicks that just get like shit out into theaters or onto streaming because they're cheap to make, and it's just something that people just like will just watch to have something to watch. Zach Cregger is at least like making horror movies that it's not just something to watch, it's a movie that people actually go, wow, this is like really good, like in the same vein as like Long Legs and shit like that, where people see it and they go, wow, this isn't just like a good horror movie, this is like a good movie. So that made me excited that he was going to be making a new Resident Evil film. what got some people concerned was that like interviews where he stated that he really didn't want to like just follow the lore of Resident Evil. He wanted to create something that was like original, like uniquely his. But then there were other times where it felt like he kind of backtracked that, where he wanted to make a movie that is set in like a Resident Evil universe, where somewhere else while the movie is happening, you could imagine that somewhere else, like Leon and Claire are on their adventure or whatever is going on. So it's kind of like mixed signals from him. But what I saw in the trailer, it looks like it's more or less sticking to the spirit of Resident Evil, with a character who kind of walks into a shitstorm and just has to survive the night. Which, when I think of Resident Evil, what comes to mind really is like that initial trilogy of Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. That's really the crux of those games. Those games are light on story, but the plot is pretty sound. Where in the first game, it's a handful of cops stumble into this mansion, this house of horrors filled with zombies and all kinds of other shit. They're not just regular cops, they're like SWAT members, but like most of them die like immediately. They either like die off camera, or they like, you know, Joseph gets ripped to pieces in the opening cutscene, and only a handful of them manage to make it out alive. But that's like a solid plot. A couple of cops, you know, who know how to handle like situations in the city. Maybe they can make arrests or deal with like SWAT kind of scenarios. Obviously they're not trained to deal with like zombies and tyrants and all kinds of crazy shit. Second game, kind of the same scenario. A cop on his first day, so green as grass, and then like a college girl rides into town who she can shoot, but other than that, I mean, none of them, they're not trained for like a zombie apocalypse. So that's, when I look at the trailer, that's what I see. We have this character who is ill-prepared for what they're walking into, and what they're going to be confronted with is going to be like zombies and other like crazy shit, mutations. A giant fat guy in the sewers, which everybody's calling Mr. XXL, which is funny, but who's to say? You know, we've seen T-virus and G-virus cause all kinds of crazy mutations and shit like that in people. But what I did see, I liked it. It's like dark, atmospheric, has like a nice creepy tone to it. It looks like it's gonna be pretty cool. It looks like it's gonna be a survival horror scenario put to film. And look, at this point, if the movie is called Resident Evil and it's not bad, I'll be happy. If it's a decent horror film, which I think it most likely will be, considering Zach Cregger's current track record, I think it'll be a pretty decent horror film with zombies and monsters and plenty of blood and gore. It's going to have all the stuff that I would want to see in a horror film, and especially like a Resident Evil horror film. As long as it can deliver that, as long as this first movie, the first outing with Zach Cregger, can be good and it kind of like rebuild the name of Resident Evil as like a film series and get like more people interested in it, then maybe it can be built upon. Maybe this can be a whole new Resident Evil a series of films. And maybe in the sequels, fans can get more of what they want, because a lot of the fan reaction to this has been, kind of predictable. That, you know, oh, it looks like shit, and it's gonna this looks nothing like Resident Evil, etc., etc. Meaning that there's no mansion, and there's not like Leon and Claire, like Chris Redfield or something. So I don't really get that. I don't get now the desire to have, if there's a film adaptation, for there to be just like a one-to-one recreation of what we've already seen and played in the games. It's kind of hard for like some people to wrap their heads around this, but those first handful of games are really, really light on story. The basic plot is sound. People trapped in an area with a bunch of zombies and monsters and they have to escape. That's all well and good, but story-wise, there's not a ton of like story progression, especially like in the first game. there's not much of any. You just walk around from room to room, collect keys and items, make your way to the end, and there's like, what, 10, 15 minutes worth of cutscenes? So it's not like a ton of character development or anything there. So just making like a one-to-one remake of the original Resident Evil in film form, I don't know how you stretch that out to like 2 hours. But what could do really well here is if we have a nice, simple, self-contained story about a character who walks into this scenario, has to survive. I mean, again, it's only a 1.5-minute trailer, so I don't know what other characters he's going to interact with. I don't know what the twists are going to be. All I saw in the trailer was the visuals look nice and creepy. They're going to be like zombies and creatures and things, and we're going to have a character that sticks to the spirit of the series, being survival horror. Someone being woefully ill-prepared for this horrible nightmare that they've just stumbled into. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing this movie. Again, I've liked Zach Cregger's previous work, so I think he can do something really good with Resident Evil. And then in the future, if this first movie does well, it could expand. Maybe we have in the future a Resident Evil 2 type movie with Leon and Claire, something to that effect. But for now, you really do just have to build back up the reputation of the series, because you got to consider it's like Resident Evil as a film series is not just on the skids with fans, it's on the skids with everybody. I don't think I heard one person say like anything good about the Netflix series. There were kind of like mixed reactions to Welcome to Raccoon City, and pretty much everyone universally agrees all those Paul W.S. Anderson movies are just like schlock, and they, like shoehorning in elements from the games. Like, here are characters named Leon and Claire and Jill, and they kind of look like those characters, but they really have nothing at all in common with them. So that was it's like cosplay. A lot of the Resident Evil movies we've gotten up to this point just feel like they put cosplayers in the movie and then wrote whatever the hell they wanted to. So with this one, I'm hoping that at least it sticks to the spirit of Resident Evil. It gives us a film that feels like a survival horror experience. That's what it's looking like it's going to be. And honestly, I don't give a shit that there's no Mansion or there's no Leon or Chris or anything like that. I played those games. I've had those experiences. They were great. But I'm looking forward to something new. But again, let me know down in the comments, how do you feel about it? Did you enjoy the trailer? Are you looking forward to seeing this movie? Or do you think it's going to be a big old pile of shit? You put it down there in the comments. I'll go down there and read it and respond to as many as I can. Anyway, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to pop on camera, give my reaction to the trailer, and maybe take the temperature of my audience. What do you guys think about it? Again, I'm a big horror movie fan. I love movies, and horror movies in particular, just as much as I love games. So I really just want to see a good horror movie, and if it says Resident Evil and it kind of sticks to the spirit of that, I'll be happy. But that's it for today. Again, let me know what you think down in the comments. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it. If you like just sitting here listening to me ramble on and on incoherently, there might be something wrong with you. I don't know why you're even watching this channel at this point. But thanks anyway. Thanks for sticking around. Like, subscribe, all that cool shit. And I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Hailing from Dunkin' Donuts, from the great state of